Now, ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa is expected to give closing address at the 10th ANC Provincial Elective Conference in Polokwane. Let's now get the very latest. We now cross to our reporter, Natasha Phiri. Natasha, thank you so much for your time. So we know that the regional conference in Johannesburg has broken into little commissions, and they're obviously going to be spending pretty much most of today looking at key issues. Talk to us about what's happening, what's the latest in Limpopo. We know obviously most importantly is that President Cyril Ramaphosa is expected to be giving that closing address today. Now it comes of course at the back of those allegations that we have been hearing that are very, very serious leveled against him by Arthur Fraser. Talk to us about what the expectation is for today.
Definitely, Unity, and we actually hope that we'll get an opportunity to doorstop the president and get, a reaction in regards to that. But as you've correctly cited there in your introduction, ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa has arrived. He's inside plenary. Members of the media were actually allowed to go in just to take some photos and visuals. But what was interesting is that, delegates broke into song, somewhat endorsing ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa again for a second term, singing Ramaphosa re tsamaya le wena ra o rata, simply meaning that we are with you and we love you. And of course, earlier on, just before his arrival, the announcement of those additional 30 members, the constituting of PEC members here in the province, and of course, first and foremost, who topped that list at 514 votes is Poppy Ramathuba, who's also the MEC of Health in the province. It's quite interesting to note that the former provincial secretary has made a comeback as well, but he was actually number 26 on the list. We also saw there Kumbuzo Nchaveni is also minister making a comeback there. It's quite also interesting to note that the former provincial spokesperson, Mr. Donald Slamlela, did not make it into the PC. The mayor as well of Polokwane did not make it, Mr. Dixon Masemula. But to talk to us more, we are joined by the Waterberg region spokesperson, Mr. Matume Muremi. Mr. Muremi, thank you so much for your time. Quite an interesting composition of the PEC.
Good afternoon. Indeed, it's a quite interesting one, which affirms women leadership. We've got 2 women in the top 5 and 16 additional members are women out of the 35. So it means that we've got 18 members who are women. This to us is an affirmation that we've got confidence in women leadership, one being a deputy chairperson, the other one being a treasurer. And indeed, it brings in, it's a mixture of the old guard and the new guard, with the youngest, I think is Jimmy Machaga, the current spokesperson of the Peter Mugaba region, who's come in as the youngest leader in the PC. It excites us as former leaders of the ANC Youth League that young people are finding space in the PC.
But also, it's also been labelled as another clean sweep of, Ntate Stanley Chupo Mathabata's slate, of which you're supporting. I mean, most of his supporters, most of the regions were very elated with the composition of this PEC.
It's a vote of confidence to the leadership of Comrade Mathabata. Remember when you got in, I think back in 2013, he got into this province when we were in shambles administratively and politically. He managed to stabilize, and people are saying they enjoy his leadership, and that is why later on maybe we will be able to speak about more things about him when we go to national conference.
And currently right now what's happening, delegates are receiving the feedbacks from commissions. But I think what's also interesting, just talking to delegates off the record, some delegates had said that they want the step aside resolution to be reviewed. And I think this is interesting because on Friday you were there, you saw what happened when branches had nominated Mr. Msiza to be provincial secretary. He declined the nomination, but he also slammed the party, saying that he's being persecuted as well. We then saw the nomination from the floor of Ruben Madzedze. Just talk us through this.
Well, this is a full conference of the ANC. What's supposed to be a conference where we don't only elect leadership, we deal with issues that are of fundamental importance. That is why we're also dealing with the policy conference discussion document. Of course, unavoidable will be the issue that you raise, the issue of step aside, which somehow members are a bit comfortable, others are uncomfortable about it. It's bound to happen, and let's not even preempt what they're going to say. The plenary is in session, and then they will be report back. I think an announcement will be said, it will be announced on what really the branches are said, but it was to be expected that indeed branches of the ANC will specifically speak about this matter. It's not only branches, even some leaders, including President Thabo Mbeki, spoke about the problematic guidelines with regard to the step aside. It is bound to happen because it's like we just rush into coming with it without considering other facts, including the basic rights of the members.
Limpopo was one of the first provinces to actually endorse ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa for a second term. I mean, just judging by the slants and the slogans and the hand signatures and gestures that you've been, indicating inside plenary, this province wants Ramaphosa to come back as ANC President for the second term.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt in my mind that branches, as we adjourn this conference, will make a clear pronouncement, even leading towards the national conference, that there's no reason for us to not give President Ramaphosa a second chance, like others who came before him. They were given a second chance, and he has, by all means, tried by all means to try to stabilize the organization. We want to join him in a journey to make sure that we tighten up and close all ranks that are there, in making sure that when we go to 2024, all ranks will be closed, in making sure that we ensure the victory of the ANC when everybody has written us off. But with his leadership, we are saying that we are hopeful that we'll make some surprises right there and there, even in KwaZulu-Natal and in Gauteng, where we seem to be limping.
Are you satisfied with the manner in which this conference was held? ANC deployees have been lauding, Limpopo for saying that everything actually went, according to them, smoothly.
Well, even comparing it to the one that we had in 2018, this is the most peaceful conference of the ANC. We remember in 2018, I think we finished around Tuesday because there were litigation around issues of delegates and so forth. We ended up going to court. This time there was no court whatsoever. Branches were here. When we started singing Gosiskelele, there was no branch that was chanting outside to say there's something that is been done that is not right. At least, as I say, we do not only concentrate on election, we're concentrating on building and renewing the organization, the ANC, and we're quite happy that we said we'll finish on the 5th, and that is why the president is here to close the conference on the day that we said we'll finish.
Mr. Moremi, thank you so much for your time. That was Matume Moremi, who is the spokesperson of the Waterberg region. Of course, we've been engaging him on a number of issues. We do expect ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa to close the 10th provincial conference of the ANC here in Limpopo. Of course, as I indicated, he is already inside. Commissions or plenary is receiving feedback from those commissions, and thereafter members of the media will be allowed to go inside to hear that much anticipated speech. And of course, hopefully we'll get a doorstop with the president to ask him, a number of issues, quiz him rather on a number of issues. But I do implore you to stay tuned to Channel 404 as we give you all the latest in this regard.
Stay tuned to SABC News indeed. Thank you so much, Natasha Phiri, for that update. And of course, we will be monitoring that event very closely to see when the president takes to the podium. Of course, this update from Natasha Phiri comes as the organizational report in Limpopo shows that there's been some significant growth within the membership of the party there in that province since their last audit in 2018.